So I read the book, obviously. It is such a mess, a cacophony of chaoticness. It is a chaotic mess. And I loved it. Lately I've been getting more and more, like, way deeper than I've ever thought I would be in psychological, weird, niche, exclusive type of books. It's a hit or miss. It's a hit or miss. I've read one recently, like just a few days ago, that I absolutely was so disappointed with. Like I didn't even hate it. I was just, it's the type of book that if it didn't exist, it would have been fine. It's called Haunted. I was just so fucking disappointed. But not with this one. So I've read I'm Thinking of Ending Things by author Ian Reid. So the summary of the story, it basically just follows a couple, a man and a woman, in a road trip in the middle of the country as they go to his house to meet his parents, like for her to meet his parents. And then we get to the household and it just gets weirder real fucking quick. The road trip, let's just start talking about the road trip. The road trip embodied the word eerie. I haven't felt that sense of foreboding in such a long time. Now that I've read this book, it just embodies the word foreboding, eeriness. It's just that. You know something is wrong. You know something is messed up. You know something is going to happen, but you don't know when and why, and you don't necessarily know what exactly is wrong. You cannot pinpoint exactly the wrongness in this image, but you know something is off-put. I honestly did not like it at first. I didn't like it at all until the very, I didn't even like it when I finished it, and I went back to read the last few chapters to make sense of what happened, to try and make sense of what happened, and then I kind of developed or created my own small little opinion. And then I liked it. And then I was like, I need to read this again. I need to read this again. I did watch the Netflix adaptation, which is good on its own. It left off so much and so many things that I wish they didn't leave off, but I did like it nonetheless, and I would recommend watching it, especially like me, if you're like me and get so freaking confused. It helps, the show helps. But they left off so many things. But they added things that I thought were genius. For example, in the show, when we get to his parents' house, there are slight details, but I've noticed them and they're amazing. For example, they get there and the frame changes, the shot changes, and there are small details. Her earrings, the pattern on her dress. There are bigger changes that you can absolutely like immediately notice, but there are details, smaller details that I loved so much, and most of that wasn't in the book, and I don't know how they can actually add that in the book, because it was done in a way that the author or the POV wouldn't be able to tell you of all those little details without it straight out being, this is some weird fucking shit. In the book, I remember one time, the POV is from the girlfriends. And I remember there's just one time while reading it, well, she was, his mom went to the kitchen and came back, and she was like, I think she had a different dress on. I think she changed the dress. But there's so many more details that they've done amazingly in the show. So we get there and oh God, what the heck is happening? What the heck is happening? There's a psychological puzzle surrounding this book and the story and the eeriness of the setting, just the vibe of it all. It's definitely a unique book. It's not gross or vile or anything like that, in my opinion, but it is still a little subversive. All throughout it, I was disappointed. And then by the end, I got a little bit more excited, but still disappointed because I was expecting so much more until I actually finished the book. Like literally the end, whatever, I finished the book and I was bamboozled, and I went back and looked at the last few chapters again, and I connected every dot and I figured out what was happening, and I was shocked. I read this as a part of my book club with a few friends, and a lot of the, if not most, let me check. All of them thought that the premise of the story, or the last twist, or the finale of the story could have been done so much better. Like, the entire plot could have been executed so much better. But honestly, I love how it was executed, because when you know what the heck is happening, what the heck has been happening, what you've been actually reading, you realize that it was perfect. It was perfect, because if it was done in any different way, it wouldn't have been that. And this is so confusing if someone that hasn't read the book, but if you have, I hope you can understand me. But by the end of the book, we figure out a huge plot twist, figure out what has actually been happening. And if it was done differently, I think it wouldn't have been real. It wouldn't have been what it was supposed to be. And I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't have a problem with how the plot or the idea was executed. I actually prefer it to a lot of psychological books. The last psychological book that has not the same plot, but the same base that I've read, I loved. It was a full year and something ago that I read, and it was Shutter Island, and I love the premise of the story. I think I spoiled a few things now, but yeah, so it's been a long time, and I've been reading a lot of psychological stuff lately, and it hasn't come close to this one. I really liked it, how it was executed. I was disappointed at the show because of the end. In the book, it was so much better, so much bigger, so much more influential, sad and pathetic, and it's too much. It was bigger, it was epic-er, but in the book, it was beautiful. It was cinematically, aesthetically, incredibly pleasing, but plot-wise, the book all the way. It's not a traditionally scary book, in my opinion, or for my taste at least. Of course, this is subjective. Everyone's reaction to what is supposed to be suspenseful, thrilling is different. Everyone's reaction to anything is fucking objective and different. So to me, it's not really like this traditionally scary, but it was, and not even thrilling. It was just, not even suspenseful. It was just, what's the word here? Fucked up. It wasn't vile or gory, and honestly, after seeing the summary and reading a few reviews, spoiler-free reviews before I've read the book, I was expecting something disgusting, and it wasn't disgusting. There's nothing disgusting about it, in my opinion, and nothing traditionally, like I said, scary about it, but just eerie, a foreboding sort of aura. It makes you feel like you're under a foreboding, eerie umbrella, and I absolutely love that. I don't want to talk about the book in a spoily way, and I'm holding myself so much because there are so many parts that I think personally are so powerful, but in order to speak about them, you have to spoil the entire story, and I don't want to do that. I actually didn't even rate the book. I read it and I haven't rated it, and I'm not planning to rate it because I don't know how to rate this book. I don't know. It's not a 5-star. It's not a 1. I don't know how to rate it. I don't know how to feel about this book. I loved so many parts, and I loved the ending of the book, but I was so confused. I don't know. And but I say I was so confused, but by the end of the book, that confusion makes sense. So yeah, it's either the type of book that you finish and you're like, oh my god, what is happening? How did I not see this and that, blah 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 blah, or the kind of book you finish and you're like, oh, this was a waste of fucking time. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna go reread Harry Potter now, and in the middle of that, but leaning towards the former. Yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to sit and talk about the book because of how it made me feel. It made me feel a lot of things. This isn't a smart review. This is point 1 and point 2 and point 3. This is just, I feel this way, so listen to me feel this way. But that's it. If you read the book, please let me know what you thought about it, and what would you recommend for someone that feels how I feel about the book. I guess I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.